Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
One, two, three. Welcome back to another Flyover Sale Film Bracket Edition. It's been a while since I got my boys to do a bracket. So we wanted to do one about comedy duos in movies. Before we get into the funnies, if you're watching this post June 30th, I don't know how you're not doing that. If you're doing it, you're linking into our feed. Carl Reiner passed away, 98 years old. Legend, a hero, a great individual, known for Dick Van Dyke Show, his work with Steve Martin, The Jerk, The Man with Two Brains, and
I saw somebody saying that Steve Martin and Carl Reiner were like comedy Scorsese and De Niro.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow, that is...
That man don't wear plaid. That's another one. If you don't know him from his works, probably you know him from his TV spots in Frasier and Larry Sanders and Ally McBeal, Parks and Rec, Two and a Half Men. Maybe you know him from Ocean's 11 or his voice work in Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, King of the Hill, Toy Story 4. Jesus. But more than likely, you know him because of Mel Brooks. Brian, before you fade away, take it away.
Yeah, give me a chance to get a full sentence out here. We'll see how the feed holds. But no, it's just well known that Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner had one of these like legendary comedy friendships. They met in the 50s, maybe even in 1950, like with the zero at the end. They started doing a show with Sid Caesar, Your Show of Shows, kind of like a variety comedy, Mel Brooks type shit. You know what I'm talking about. And then have gone on obviously through the years and worked together. 2,000 Pound Old Man is one of those classic Reiner Mel Brooks bits you should look up. And then even on into their later years in the last just couple where they both are widowers that, without their wives. Every night they would get together and have dinner together and like watch a movie. And that's just fucking amazing. Like you're just
that's fucking
legends. Cool. And we didn't plan this bracket for him, but I mean, it's just very appropriate because of that iconic friendship to shout him out and pay tribute to a true icon,
It's crazy because even at 98, like literally 2 days ago, I remember seeing the photo of him, Mel Brooks, and Carl Reiner's daughter on the bed, and they all have their Black Lives Matter shirts on.
It was Mel's birthday. Like, he was turning 94. He was the younger of the two, you see.
Surprise.
And just being like, wow, he looks young. Like, he looks good for someone who's 98.
Oh, yeah. I've been around some 98-year-olds. That shit can be very grim.
So we have a bracket of comedy duos. We had to pare it down a lot. We eliminated many of them that are based on TV, most work.
People who did like their best work on TV or their most memorable work on TV.
Yeah.
A lot of SNL.
A lot of SNL.
A lot of sketch comedy.
Mike Myers and Dana Carvey was cut. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were cut. Who else was cut?
Bob Odenkirk and David Cross was one that I wanted to get on there, but again, more a TV thing.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Matt Parker, Trey Stone.
There are a lot of them,
Sinbad, Phil Hartman.
Yeah. Fucking head of the house. So we have 8. I put.
Hey man, you fail. It's house guest.
Oh, burn!
Sorry, cancel the podcast.
And jingle all the way.
Cancel culture will get me now. So we have 8 duos. They're gonna go head to head in a bracket. You seen a bracket, you know what the fuck we're doing. So
some people might call it a tournament format.
Round
that.
robin, single elimination. So keep in mind they are randomized. So just because it says number 1 doesn't mean that we think it's number 1. But number 1 is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Paul, World's End, and a few other things, coming up against Seth Rogen and James Franco from Pineapple Express, This Is the End, The Interview, Sausage Party, and a lot more. TJ, how about you start us off, and then Joe, Brian, and me?
I would love to. To me, this isn't really a contest at all. When I think of a duo, I think of an equal part comedic balance between the two. Seth Rogen, hilarious. James Franco, not so much. He does some funny things, but it's because his friends wrote it for him. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are perfect together. I can't pick one thing bad. People be like, The World's End, and be like, but the relationship in that movie between the two of them is spot on, and it also contrasts what they used to do or what they do in most of their movies. So I'm gonna just save the rest and go Simon Pegg, Nick Frost right off the bat.
Nice. I like The World's End. Joe, what's up with you?
Yeah. To me, this is like British version of the same duo, and American version of the same duo. They have very similar traits. So this is very hard because I do think like one of the comedic persons is superior than the other. Nick. So the thing is, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg have shown that they really can't function without each other. I mean, they can, but they don't. They don't.
I disagree.
They can.
I disagree. But this is your time. I'm not going to interrupt you.
All right.
This is your time.
They can. I think they can.
My time.
I'm not going to.
They can, but they don't. Seth Rogen and James Franco are successful and do their own thing separately, but when they're together, they generally look like they're having a great time on screen, and it's translated in all of their movies. And every time, any movie we watch with them, even in something like The Interview, I'm like, wow, they just look like they're having fun on set. Like, This Is the End. Looks like a blast. Like I get it. Like, you know, James Rogen's definitely James Franco's definitely more of an actor, more of the actor, and needs probably that work, but it works for him.
All right.
Seth Rogen. So anyway, I'm just going Seth and James early on. I really like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, but I find more value for myself with Seth Rogen and James Franco.
Brian, where are you going with this? This is tied a 1-1.
Oh man, I do think this is a good first round battle, and I do agree with Joe's point of this feels very much like the success of, or like the opportunities that Seth Rogen and James Franco had almost stem from the success of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Like, America was like, "Wait, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it." Not that there's never been a pair like that, but they kind of like brought it back, you know, in a little bit, and they're like, hey, you know, we're doing a new era of comedy duos. They also, I think, balance out well, whereas like one is a more writer behind the scenes and performer, and the other one is more of just strictly a performer and maybe doesn't like, you know, get involved in the creative aspect as much. Not to take anything away from what Nick Frost and James Franco do, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, specifically Seth Rogen, you know, more of a writer, comedy writer, creator. Same thing with Simon Pegg, worked with Edgar Wright on like writing some of those movies and stuff.
Yeah, and also created Spaced.
Star Trek.
Evan Goldberg,
which Nick Frost was on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I also think you guys mentioned only Yusef mentioned Paul, which I think is kind of a rare. It almost shows that does the Nick Frost Simon Pegg thing work without Edgar Wright in the mix? You know what I mean? Paul's an okay movie.
And Seth Rogen's included in that.
Yeah, Seth Rogen also in that.
Yeah.
And I just I think personally I think that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have the better hit rate overall, though. And I do think they have more range in what they do. Like, I think there is character difference from what you see in Shaun of the Dead and what you see in Hot Fuzz and what you see in World's End, where Seth Rogen and what's his face they kind of ride that same line the whole time. So I think I'll put my vote behind Pegg and Frost also.
All right, 2-1. Seth Rogen, James Franco, hilarious in Pineapple Express. You cannot take that away from them. This Is the End is probably one of the most funny meta movies out there. But yeah, that's literally the point that I was gonna make is Seth Rogen and James Franco always have the same power dynamic between them. And one of the reasons why I really enjoy this The World's End is because the dynamic between Nick and Simon shifts, and you get to see Simon play the loser.
I think the dynamic's different in Hot Fuzz too, actually.
Yeah.
Can I but excluding the disaster. Damn. Excluding
everyone wants to talk about the disaster. Tommy Wiseau bullshit. Fuck that.
Oh, fuck you guys. And then you have
I forgot about the disaster artist.
You have
the
great payoff of who Seth Rogen's texting in the night before when he takes the girl's phone and it turns out to be James Franco.
He will be remembered as he's being eliminated. So Simon Pegg and Nick Frost move on. Our next battle is equally fun in terms of
here. No losers on this list.
No.
Well, there's one loser somewhere. We have Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly from Holmes and Watson and none other movie. That's all they've done.
The only credit they have together. Weird.
Yeah. Super weird. Step Brothers and Talladega Nights and a couple of other small tidbits. I think they played the Beastie Boys and they were in Tim and Eric's movie. So yeah, they've been in a few.
Will Ferrell pop up in Walk Hard? What's his?
No.
Does he have a cameo in Walk Hard? No.
No, he does. He doesn't.
How could he not? Everybody else in the world has a cameo in Walk Hard.
Versus the Wayans Brothers, Marlon and Sean Wayne from Little Man, White Chicks, the scary movies, and Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking juice. Joe, you start off this round.
This is another fucking hard one.
Yeah.
But I immediately because John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell, it's another one of those things. You took prestige actor who knows how to be funny and was able to pull all of Will Ferrell's talents in and bounce off, and they're a perfect duo. They bring it. And they have, and for this fight too, the Wayans Bros, they make Little Man, and that is an abomination to the world.
It's canceled out with Holmes and Watson, so that's why I mentioned that.
That's what I was leading to.
I mentioned
Watson is there one misstep, and I'm just gonna save it short. I'm giving the Wayans Brothers. I mean, they revived the spoof comedy in the late '90s with Scary Movie. And those movies have some solid. The 1 and 2 have solid jokes in it. Don't Be a Menace. Hysterical. I'm gonna edge it out though to Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, and just give them the one misstep right now because I think they're a stronger duo than what they've produced. Having said that, it's a split, so I'm just gonna put my chips on them right now.
All right, Brian, where are you going? One for Will and John.
So they're it's 3 major collaborations: 4 Talladega Nights, Step Brothers,
and Holmes.
Holmes and Watson. That's only 3, right? That's it. There's no other major collabs.
I mean, they have cameos together in a mockumentary about the Beastie Boys, and they have a cameo together in the Tim and Eric.
Okay.
Anchorman 2. In Anchorman 2, I believe.
Oh, in Anchorman 2, they have a
Sure. That movie sucked. I don't. That's hard. This is hard because like I'm not a huge fan. I like Don't Be a Menace. I like much like Joe. I do appreciate the first two scary movies, and a case can totally be made that like in the late '90s, early 2000s, the Wayans brothers became that our generation's Zucker brothers, and like whereas they had Airplane, we got Don't Be a Menace, and we got the scary movies. Now you can also blame them for the string of much worse parody movies that came out after. You know what I mean? They may have revived a genre, but they also unleashed a genre on us. But that's not their fault either. You know what I mean? They did their best, and it's hard for me not to give an edge. You know, I mean, because there's like the creator element of it too. Like I always, you know, they were writing and producing on that, and there's, and with the quality of that going, only two of those movies of their three big collaborations actually being good. Now, I'm a huge Step Brothers guy. Never even seen Talladega Nights because I just didn't want to. Everybody loves it though, and everybody says good. So I'm going to assume that we've got two good ones and one misfire.
We have one great one and one good one.
Yeah, one great one, and literally Step Brothers is an all-timer. It's fucking phenomenal. It's really good. On the strength of Step Brothers alone, you could almost get this one over.
Want to drag this fucking bracket out?
I'm sorry. I really thought I didn't think I would struggle. I didn't think I would struggle this hard with the Wayans brothers.
Vote, bro. This is not for the president.
So that's why, like, I'm with Brian. I get the struggle. The Wayne.
Yeah, no, this is a great.
I'm happy with the randomized. As far as I'm concerned, most of their late career stuff is pretty trash, but they still are also very prolific and productive, and like continue to work and try and continue to make, and there's something to be said for that too. Their swings, I'm gonna vote for the Wayans. I think, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1-1. Fucking Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Step Brothers is my wife's favorite movie. I think it's up there, and we've seen it a shit ton, and it still makes me laugh.
Like dog turn. I'm wearing a Step Brothers reference shirt right now. You guys can't see it.
But there's something about how the Wayans brothers shaped my childhood that I can't ignore. They even did their show. I know we're ignoring TV, but they made a show together, which is pretty fucking.
The reason we picked them and not like Keenan is because Keenan more for TV, like Keenan and Damon both more for TV. We were going more movies, so we went with Sean and Marlon.
But we all
they replaced Key and Peele because Key and Peele only had one movie, but they're better known for their.
Why'd you make that? The correlation. What do you mean replaced? Do you mean our tokenism? Hey, somebody get the timestamp on that. Snip, snip, snip.
We're just saying it like it is. There's something about Scary Movie that just holds up so well, and even though it on the surface it sucks, it still makes me laugh so much. White Chicks is something that I can watch any day of the fucking week and still laugh at. So shitty it is.
We just had watched American Pie, and that was super juvenile and gross and sexist, and I kind of hated it. But like, I will watch Scary Movie and laugh my ass off, and it's worse. It's fucking way worse.
Dude.
And I think it's because they packed so many
like, where's the foot?
Have you seen have you watched Don't Be a Menace in a while? Like it's of its age. It's of its time. It's just it's hysterical, but it's of its time.
So TJ, are you gonna push the Wayans or are you gonna push for a tie? 2-1. It's your decision.
And I need you, and I miss you. We're going White Chicks all the way, baby. The Wayans brothers, to me, I love John C. Reilly. I think he's a fucking hoot. I have my qualms with Will Ferrell. I love Step Brothers. I think it's a fucking amazing comedy. Talladega Nights, not so much, if at all, and the rest of them, no.
Bless you. Love that movie.
No, and then again, I know we're going good TVs, but the Wayans Brothers show is one of the best shows of all time. Please revisit it. Wayans Brothers. Moving on.
All
I
right.
think you call that an upset, boys.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, because they're black. So we have Simon.
No, you're the
Pegg.
racist, actually.
No, I flipped it on you.
No, because I think if you're looking at this list, and depending on what age you are, you're going John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell could win the whole thing until you boil it down.
Sure.
Right.
So next one we have is a slobber knocker of a matchup in a sense that it's gonna be a fucking hard duo to beat, which is Bill Murray and Harold Ramis of Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Stripes, going up against Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids, Friends with Kids, and SNL. I'm gonna rope it in because they legit are a gem in the early 2000s. And I know we're ignoring TV, but I cannot in this instance. Brian, you start us off with your favorite actor, Bill Murray.
Oh, yes. Everybody knows, well known, my love for Bill Murray. But cannot deny the body of work, Harold Ramis. I know I'm the oldest guy here, and, so maybe this stuff resonates a little bit more. Not that everybody didn't grow up with Ghostbusters, but Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, both creative, both writers, performers. Obviously, Harold Ramis in front of the camera in Ghostbusters movies and in Stripes, but behind the camera in Groundhog Day, and also which I can't believe you didn't mention, but now I get to. You left off Caddyshack, man. Yeah. Harold Ramis's directorial debut, really star-making turn.
You fucking do this the next time, okay? You do this.
With your stupid background makes it so nobody can see what you're doing. You're holding up nothing to me.
He couldn't bother me cleaning up 3 bags of chips.
I was so excited to talk about Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. I forgot who they're up against. Who are they up against?
Maya.
Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig. Amazing talents, both. But they do not have the body of work together on screen to come anywhere close to winning this round, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to disrespect them in any way. Bridesmaids is amazing. I liked Wine Country a lot, and that's like not just them. There's like the whole crew of writing. It was fun. That was a fun one. I would have loved to have Tina and Amy on this list too. They all, as far as I'm concerned, all 4 of them are great. But yeah, unfortunately, they just got whoever came up against Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, for me at least, in the first round was going to have a hard time. So
yeah, I agree. I'm not going to drag it out. I'm going to vote for Bill as well. TJ, where are you going to go with this? And I fucking love Bridesmaids. Me and my wife literally every day.
It's about a half hour too long, but hell yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, every day me and my wife says, welcome to Germany. Fucking line. Help me, I'm poor. You do.
I say that.
Her doing this to be Hitler, like fucking makes me lose it every time.
You're just gonna shit in the street. Okay. Yep. No, it sucks for me is because they're Kristen Wiig and Maya's like the fucking. They started off with a fucking not SNL, but Bridesmaid was fucking just like hitting the fucking moon. And it's tough to hit that again. And then over and over again. I know they did Wine Country. I don't know what that movie is. I'm sure it's funny.
And that's another thing. I'm not sure how many other things they've done a lot of cameos and they've worked together. Like they're both in MacGruber, but they don't really have any scenes together in MacGruber and stuff.
They're partners.
Kristen Wiig's pretty good in Paul also. Yeah, we might have a whole list of people in Paul.
Yeah. Right? I feel like Paul's going to be on somebody's pick in the next couple months.
And also, Maya and Kristen haven't had their feud yet, which I'm sure will come one day, like Bill and Harold had, where eventually it all fell apart. But before that happened,
Who's gonna die first?
Comedic.
I vote Kristen.
Well, maybe if one of the members of the duo isn't a big fucking asshole, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, Kristen has her attitude, but that's not that.
But I think that's the one thing that holds them back is they start off with a bang, and unfortunately, it's tough to hit that again. So I have to go with Bill Murray and Harold Ramis because the body work.
Is it tough? Because Bill Murray and Harold Ramis did it like 4 or 5 times.
Exactly, in different ways. They did different things, and then they have a nice connection where Kristen Wiig got to play a role in Ghostbusters, which was awesome for her, I'm sure. So unfortunately, got a lot of backlash, but I'm going with Murray.
Joe, it doesn't matter, but
that would be my pick too. Bill Murray and Harold Ramis.
Sorry, Maya and Kristen. Nothing against you.
Nah, that's tough.
No. And for those looking at the list saying like, ugh, there's no classics here, I wasn't gonna put fucking nothing before the 80s because
Yeah.
Joe got born yesterday, and I'm not gonna
Well,
make
man,
him
make you,
watch
these guys
movies
look up a bunch of Laurel and Hardy movies and fucking get.
Yeah,
like
if you think
Lucy
that,
and
Ollie,
Ethel.
man, that was a good movie. That was a good movie.
Stan and Ollie.
Uh,
Watch Stan and Ollie.
Yeah, so watch
John
Stan
C.
and
Reilly.
Ollie, John C. Riley.
So the last matchup of the first round, we have our Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall from Coming to America. Period, because it's so fucking good that they have to be here. And they're gonna be Coming to America too, which I kind of have hopes for. But you never know.
Was Arsenio, sir? Was
Those are really the
Arsenio
only
in
one. That's the only one. They didn't do any other collabs.
They have,
Was
but technically
Arsenio-
it's not a comedy. It's Harlem Nights, and he.
That's what I'm saying. I
and
thought
Is
Arsenio
Arsenio in Boomerang? Is Arsenio in
No.
Boomerang?
No, they had a feud. So I kind of laughed because you said that they need a feud, Maya and Rudolph,
Yeah.
and Eddie and Arsenio had a feud, and now they come back together for comedy, for Coming to America 2. And they're up against
Coming to America, obviously.
America. Back to the Streets, Electric Boogaloo, David Spade, Chris Farley, Black Sheep, Tommy Boy, and SNL.
TJ
I start off. Yeah,
No?
I start off.
Start
Yeah. Honestly, Coming to America probably is pound for pound one of the funniest movies ever made. Like it's just fucking ridiculous, and the way that I feel like the reason why I voted for them to be on this is because not only are they hilarious together, they are also in charge of like 6 characters in between them in that movie alone, and each character is hilarious. But there's something about the energy and usefulness of David Spade and Chris Farley. It was like watching 2 lovers that were destined to meet in front of the screen. Like the energy that Chris Farley could throw and how David would just receive it and react in a way that always made me laugh is something magical. And it's sad that Chris is no longer with us, and David Spade's career is tied to the dingus of Adam Sandler, but it would have been awesome to see at least
the
one
dumbest person I work with really liked The Wrong Missy.
I
Oh,
love The Wrong Missy. So.
also the dumbest person I podcast with like it
That
too.
was the fucking worst.
I love it.
Dude. So fucking bad.
I should.
Someone needs to shoot Lauren Lapkus out of a cannon.
Oh my god! And I love
Well,
Lauren
she's grown
Lapkus, but
too,
that was
so
too
suck it.
much.
Yeah, I like her too. But
Oh,
like, don't do that again.
so I'm voting David and Chris. Tia, where are you going with this one?
I was Joan of Arc in my past life. That's one of my favorite lines of that fucking movie. Coming to America, is a classic. Again, now we're gonna look at bodies of work. I know, like, if Yusuf didn't say it, I was gonna say it. The one thing they do have going for them, they're playing multiple characters, multiple different roles in this goddamn film. But I don't think there's anything that really matched what David Spade and Chris Farley brought to the screen, like chemistry wise, because you could tell they were real friends in real life. Like, even if Arsenio and Eddie were super close at the time when that happened, I mean, Seth Rogen and James Franco, these people that we're doing buddy comedies with, you can feel some of the chemistry that comes off them, which gives them a lot of energy behind the roles. But nothing matches Chris Farley and David Spade. Tommy Boy's on in the background right now. Even like, if you ever listen to interviews with David Spade talking about Black Sheep, and how they were kind of hampered down to not be as goofy as they wanted to be, and they kind of hurt them. They said they didn't get to film as much together. Like watching David Spade talk about Farley in the past tense and stuff like that, it hits you every time. Then you see these roles together with them playing the things. It makes you wish that, Farley was still here doing the Adam Sandler movies, even if he replaced Kevin James, which he probably would have, and stuff like that in a lot of the roles. I gotta go Chris Farley.
There's a weight limit in the set. That's what you're trying to say?
You were guy with another fat guy.
Yes.
Come on, man. We got two big
so funny.
buddies
I think
here. There could be
I
more
think
than
we're
one
all-
chubby guy in the comedy.
I'm
I
with you.
think
Joe,
we're all saying
2-0.
yes, buddy.
2-0,
We're
Joe.
saying the same. We're saying the same thing.
2-0, Joe.
Coming to America is one of the best movies of all time. One of the funniest movies of all time. I pound for pound, scene for scene, love that movie. But doing this bracket, I just wish they had a bigger body of work together.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
And especially in comedy. Yeah, no. So I'll save it. I'm saving whatever argument I had for Chris Farley and David Spade for the next one.
All right, the royal penis is cleaned.
Yes,
off
thank
this
you.
bracket. All right, so we got next Simon Pegg and Nick Frost versus the Wayans Brothers, Sean and Marlon. TJ, you start us off with this slobber knocker.
This is fucking tough. This is tough. Ah, man, two brothers, two friends.
They're two brothers. They're two brothers.
Brothers in the actual sense that they're physically brothers.
Yeah, that's the theme.
No, that's fine. I was just getting
Brothers.
The
Talking about In
context.
Living Color, right?
context of the conversation. To me,
No,
I mean,
that's the theme from their sitcom.
I know. God damn it,
We're
Joe.
brothers.
Three.
Flowing well. Can you
Three
catch the
solid-
comedy chemistry that's flowing in
Yeah, I was
here?
gonna say, ooh,
Go-
Joe and
go
TJ should be on
downstairs.
this bracket. Look at them nailing this. They're killing it. These two. What? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yes, and. All right.
All right. I mean, it's for me. It's simple as this. I love Scary Movie. I love that. But Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have probably one of my favorite trilogies that isn't connected at all. The Cornetto trilogy. I love The World's End because of what it did to both them characters and got them play the basically, take the roles and twist them around. So yeah, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg for me. Keep it simple.
Joe.
We're gonna go with the Wayans Brothers on this.
No
That's-
argument. That's it. All right, cool.
No, just
No, I mean I like it. I like a executive decision. It's like
yeah.
this
No.
is my vote.
Carrot Top movie, right?
Chairman of the board.
Thank you. All right, moving on.
See, there's the chemistry. All right, Brian. There was one.
You want us to guess shitty comedies of the '90s? I can do that all day.
Brian, 1-1. Simon or the Wayans?
I think this matchup will be where the consistency of the quality of the work comes in. I really like some of the Wayans Brothers stuff, and some of it is I consider to be quite bad. Whereas all the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost stuff is very good to only okay, which that's pretty good. And they've got with the Cornetto trilogy plus Paul 4 movies, that's quite a bit. And if you Space should at least be in the back of your mind. They have. That almost matches up to as much. Now the Wayans Brothers have done more, but still, it's a healthy body of work.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty confident being able to go with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost on this one.
Yeah. As much as I praised the Wayans and knocked off what on paper, like we said, looked like the favorites.
Yeah, they had a killer first round.
It's hard for me to vote against the Cornetto trilogy. So yeah. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Baby Driver. Edgar Wright employed the cast of Baby Driver.
Hey, Edgar Wright isn't on the bracket, my man. Okay.
All right. Stop trying to come after John Hamm, man. He didn't do anything yet. Bill Murray, Harold Ramis versus David Spade and Chris Farley. Another great
This is a
semi-final.
generational battle here.
Joe.
God.
Yeah, okay.
Thank God I get to go last, if at all.
What's up? Oh, this is awesome.
Did we lose Joe?
That's
No
so.
fucking way.
Come on.
Oh my God, there's no way.
All right, what's the time code? 3442.
Yeah.
Since we
Oh,
need
we're-
to hack this
yeah,
out.
we're
not
Okay,
guys.
Joe's back.
Oh, wait,
All right, he's
my,
back. He's back.
My internet cut off for some reason. All right. So we're good. So
Yep.
You're back.
All right. Bill Murray and Howard Ramis, I find like movies they did together, they're great collaborators. They produced hit after hit, but they were also group efforts there more so with, Ghostbusters, let's say. Like that's a lot of God, what's fucking Wayne's what's his name?
Rick
Rick
Moranis.
Moranis.
Dan Winston.
No.
Dan
Ivan,
Aykroyd.
No.
Also Ivan Reitman.
Dan
directed.
Aykroyd. That's a lot of Dan Aykroyd. Sorry, that's a lot of Dan
This is-
Aykroyd in that
Well,
too.
Dan
Sigourney
Aykroyd
Weaver?
and Harold Ramis wrote the movie together.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver.
So just my point, Sigourney Weaver. My point.
The
My
secretary.
point being, yeah.
But Harold
right.
Ramis also can be credited for knowing how to write for Bill Murray, and I think that should be factored in.
Yeah. Okay.
Ernie Hudson.
Bill Atherton?
The ghost.
Oh, but then we have Chris Farley and David Spade, and they
Brian
only did
Dennehy.
movies together. And there's but each one, like TJ said earlier, you could see their fucking energy jumping off screen. So I don't know if that should discount them from not having the same body of work, because Howard Ramis and Bill Murray's body of work also died through a rotten friendship. But it died in a great movie, so I'm going to have to give it to Bill Murray and Howard Ramis over Spade and Farley.
So one died because of a shitty personality, and another one died because of cocaine.
Because of actual
Uh,
death.
yeah. Brian, where are you going with this one?
This, I wish this. I mean, this could have been the final had these guys been on opposite sides of the bracket. This is a brutally hard one.
Yeah.
Obviously the output Harold Ramis and Bill Murray is incredible, but percentage-wise, so is Chris Farley and David Spade. I was on the record when the movies came out. Like, I love Tommy Boy, and when Black Sheep came out, I was a teenager, and I was like, this sucks, just a ripoff. It took me years, and it wasn't until I was married and, I sat down and finally watched it, and I was like, this is fucking great. It's really, really funny.
It's a hysterical movie.
It's really good, and it's like, it should just be up there right next to Tommy Boy as a two-piece. There should be no...
Sure.
Yes, what was that? Yeah.
So I actually
Fake
grew up
Puff
with Black
Marshmallow
Sheep.
Man.
I grew up with Black Sheep being over Tommy Boy because that's what I saw first. So I was like,
okay. That's
hysterical.
fucked up, but okay, I get it.
I didn't
Fucked
see
up.
Tommy Boy until like a while after. But I was like, this is just a ripoff of Black Sheep.
Oh wow.
That's your world is just wrong, man. It's like you were raised in the Room from Room.
Ron Jeremy was in Ghostbusters.
Daddy.
So here's where I'm
Yeah, the background.
like I said, I'm having a real hard time with this one, but here's where I landed on it. Spade and Farley fit the duo part of this better. They are there's untetherable. 25 years later, still people think of David Spade and Chris Farley together. They only ever made 2 movies, but they made such an impact that they are like tethered together. Chris Farley didn't stop making movies after him and David Spade made Black Sheep. He made a bunch of other movies, and he tried to partner with other people, and nothing stuck. Nothing is memorable. Nothing is even really good.
Almost
And
hero.
David Spade has gone on to have a long career, and again, still the most memorable thing and the best thing he's ever been in are those 2 movies.
Wrong missing.
So
And
I
he'll
think
tell you
that on the strength of the fact that they are more memorable as a duo, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray work together a lot, but in many different ways. Sometimes on screen together, sometimes writer actor, sometimes director actor, and I think because they're less well known as a duo, I'm gonna give my vote to Spade Farley.
Jesus Christ,
Wow.
I can't win in this.
I think Joe, you shot yourself in the foot. I think because you stumble upon a good point that you don't think about Ramis when you're watching Bill Murray act in Groundhog Day. You
I want to
should.
say that I do, and also Harold Ramis has a cameo. He's the doctor.
Yeah. But like you said that, and I think that was the seed that Brian grew into this beautiful, majestic voting for David Spade and Chris Farley tree. But yeah, it's a great argument to think about them as a duo and not as a comedy troupe, or an ensemble, which is a better argument for Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Because, I mean, I can't even think. Well, yeah, I think I can think about the dad and Tommy Boy, but outside of that, like when you think about those two movies, those are the only two faces that come up instantly in your head. When you think about Groundhog Day, it's just Bill Murray. When you think about Ghostbusters, it's like, Sigourney Weaver.
Even Stripes, Harold Ramis is the second lead in Stripes, but you really think of it as a Bill Murray movie. You don't think of it as like a duo movie of him. It's like
fucking Candy.
Well, yeah, John Candy. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have Bill Murray at the top, and then like his left and right hand man. You got but you don't think of it as a movie. It's not like the Blues Brothers. When you think about the Blues Brothers, you think about two guys.
All right, so I think we said that Seth Rogen and James Franco are the United States version of Simon Pegg, but I think David Spade and Chris Farley are the true Simon Pegg and Nick Frost of the United States, and I want to see them in the final. So I'm gonna vote for Chris Farley and David Spade.
Oh shit!
And it's because of the argument that Joe used to vote for Bill Murray. I don't know why, man. It just made me think about.
Hey, man. All my votes on this
fucking kills me to vote against Harold Ramis. Like that's who I thought would win it. When I thought full disclosure, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray came onto the bracket kind of late. But when I thought of them, I was like, oh, I'll also just hand it to them. Like this is a winner. But like to sit there and the more I think about it and like trying to compare the quality of the bodies of work and how am I going to pick? Hey, I ended up picking the fucking Wayans Brothers. I don't like most of their movies, so.
Are you gonna tie this bitch, or are you gonna push on the Farley David train?
Real fast, I want to give a shout out to Harold Ramis, also playing a supporting role in Knocked Up as Seth Rogen's father, and then another supporting role as the dean of the university in the
Orange
Jack
County.
Black.
That's a great little
County,
role in Orange County where they slip him ecstasy. And he's all in the back seat, all rubbing on Colin Hanks and shit.
Sure, man.
I'm sure I know Bill Murray is loved by a lot of people, but I gotta say Harold Ramis is the star in this duo.
TJ's my boy. That's my fucking boy. I'm sorry for calling him dumb earlier.
I do love the wrong Missy.
You like the wrong Missy, so like your boy needs an IED.
I also love Ghostbusters 2 a lot. I love Harold Ramis and Bill Murray. Unfortunately, like you guys pointed out, as a on-screen duo, they don't stand out too much together. It's more of a group activity, whether it's John Candy or Dan Aykroyd.
This was a bracket of top comedy collaborators.
Again, I'm going to save it for the end. Chris Farley, David Spade.
Ooh, who would have thought that we would have Simon Pegg, David Spade, Nick Frost, and Chris Farley?
America versus England, baby.
Yeah, this is like the U.S. versus UK.
Yeah.
Odd couple comedy duo Olympics here.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta start this bullshit too.
Brian.
Oh, thank
Brian
God.
and me, the odd couple.
Damn,
We'll start it off.
I don't even want to do it. Can we just stop and give participation trophies to everybody? So again, because again, like when you're looking at the groups we picked have all solid, percentage wise, how many times they worked together versus how many of those were hits. Both these guys match up pretty well. And I think, again, I'm going to lean on who is going to be more memorable. Who's like 20, we're already 20, 25 years in, and people still hold on to Farley and Spade. Whereas people love the Cornetto trilogy, but it's not like people are clamoring for more collaboration or like, that I don't know. I just don't feel like
think it's
they would
depending who
be.
you ask.
We brought them up. They made this bracket, so obviously I can't be like they don't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath. But I think if you're looking at the legacy,
They are the finalists in this
right?
prestigious
They made
bracket.
it to the final, so I don't think I need to qualify this with do they belong here. But I guess if you're picking one over the other, and you literally have to look at whose legacy is going to be more influential and more iconic, I'm probably going to give it to Farley. I got to give it to Farley and Spade.
Yeah.
But
Brian, would you say Farley and Spade's legacy is a lot like the Confederacy, although shortly lived, is more impactful?
TJ, mark this off. Here to here. Snip, snip.
Joe's guys. Joe doesn't know what he's saying. He's tired from being out late defending the Columbus statue. So cut him some slack. He's been very busy.
I was just stating states' rights facts, guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
So we got one more for David. Actually, yeah. So
Just
I feel
one.
like
Not one more, just one. I'm the first voter.
so we got one. But yeah, I love the Cornetto trilogy for sure. And just like David and Chris, whenever I think about either Nick or Simon, instantly I think about the other. They are both eternally tied to one another. But the argument was made in the opening round. I think it was Brian, and I think it's a fair argument. Is this really a duo or is it really a trio with Edgar Wright?
Full sucked.
Just on the I don't even need to watch.
Like the
their
same
movies.
guy didn't direct Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, but
No,
they both
yeah,
hit
I
just
don't even-
fine. You know what I mean? They
I don't
both
even need
smoked.
to- I don't even need to watch their movies. I know this is Father's Tale film, but their SNL run alone and their chemistry translated into the movies, and that's why those two movies are fucking amazing.
Spade couldn't do a scene without breaking. When
Yeah, girls for life.
Down by the river. So
That's Bob Odenkirk, everybody. Bob Odenkirk wrote Matt Foley, guys.
He didn't make it, Brian. Stop trying to shove it.
No, he should have been on this list. It's a big star now.
He didn't make it. He's fucking didn't make it.
They need a movie though.
He directed Brothers Solomon.
I feel like
Well, that does it all. Put the Brothers Solomon on.
Will Ferrell and Will Arnett.
Kristen
They just
Wiig.
won the bracket. They're a dark horse.
With a young Kristen Wiig, might I add.
No, Will Forte. Isn't it Will Forte?
Oh, I did say Will Ferrell, didn't I? Sorry, Will Ferrell.
They said Will Arnett.
Will
Cancel.
Forte. And honestly, much better. Like Will Forte and Will
What?
Arnett.
Next Brian's
They
gonna
are
be like,
actually
watch Run,
legitimately
Ronnie, Run.
hilarious in that movie. It's like Dumb and Dumber, but better.
I feel like
Big
David
Rock
Spade
and
and
Run
Chris
fan.
Farley are the prototypical comedy duo, the fucking straight man and the crazy ass fucking.
I bet you, if you asked Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, they would say they were inspired by
Oh, I
Far-
bet.
Farley. and Spade.
100%. But yeah, I'm gonna vote for David and Chris Farley. I didn't expect this, but I love it. I mean, I'm with it. I'm
I
rolling.
didn't expect this either. Very surprising. Our brackets always go weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Claus win Best Santa, so like, you never
We
know.
had recency bias.
TJ.
Oh,
Joe. Are you
man.
gonna push it to Joe, or are you gonna stop the man bun from
Push it to
having an
me
opinion?
These
Take the
are
man
two-
bun's power away.
These are two completely different on-screen relationships. Me growing up, some of my best friends, as much as I loved you, my favorite thing to do was rag on you. And David Spade and Chris Farley have that hate each other, love each other type of chemistry on screen, where Nick Frost and Simon Pegg's more of
That'd be
a
fun.
romance type of a thing. Especially the end of the Dead with the video.
And we talked about, they play more range too.
Yes.
We did mention that before.
Ah, man, I mean, I would love for this bracket to be a little bit more, crazy towards the end, but unfortunately, with my heart, I have to go with the comedic duo that, for me, really started it all, especially at a young age. And it's Farley and Spade. I mean, Joe, I'd love to get your points in for this.
No,
but
he has a man bun. He can't talk that.
to me,
Listen,
unfortunately, there's no contest. All right, 4 movies to 2. These 2 movies blow those 4 out of the way. As much as I love Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, which are the top tiers, yes, I'm going Farley and Spade.
My new hairstyle. We're always gonna go with Farley and Spade on this.
It's a fucking sweep.
Yep.
I legitimately am really surprised because of how, like, I thought that for sure that how few movies they had done together would hurt them and they wouldn't be able.
Me too.
But like, you have to kind of look at it percentage wise and like balance the whole scale of how they and
Screen time
It's just,
together.
it's hard.
And
It's
like I
hard
said,
to
like-
ignore SNL.
yeah.
It's hard.
And once I started thinking about, like, they're probably the first one that came to your mind when you started thinking about making this
Oh, yeah.
bracket. And
Could
that
you
says
imagine?
something. That has to be factored in, like their legacy and like how long they've
think
remained relevant despite being
Brian,
dead,
I think you hit the real point home with them being like, you still think of them. They're standing the test of time.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what happens when you're
David
old. You
Spade.
can talk about test of time.
Imagine if David Spade was in Beverly Hills Ninja. That's all I'm going to say. Could you just fucking imagine, all right?
But yeah,
well, maybe not Beverly
it's a
Hills
great-
Ninja, but he definitely should have been in what was the one Almost Famous? No, it's not Almost Famous.
Heroes.
Almost Heroes.
Almost
There
Heroes.
you go. Like, why
But no,
wasn't
that
he
was
in
them
that?
trying to. That was them trying to give Matthew Perry to capitalize on
He
Friends.
already had Fools Rush In. What more do you people want?
And
And,
8 heads in the duffel bag,
9
right?
yards, something like that.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like those. I like the whole 9 yards. That was a good movie.
Yeah. Great point, Brian. When I wrote the list, when I pitched this idea to you guys, it was Will Ferrell, Chris Farley, and then the Simon Pegg. So those 3 were the first one that I thought
I
about.
can't believe
I think
Farrell.
there's
That was
gonna be
crazy.
a lot of.
They got shut out in the first round. That's
wanna say-
wild. That
Just
feels like a
wanna
big
say-
upset, but it was a good one. Points well made all around.
To add to the honorable mentions, I do feel like a lot of folks would be upset because we just skipped over Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. But what I want to say is they put out 2 mediocre movies, and they're a great comedy writing duo that kind of are better friends and stay out of each other's projects.
And all their best work, although it's like 30 Rock is a top tier. Everybody's, Parks and Rec. Fuck that. 30 Rock is like 10 times the show that Parks and Rec is.
Yeah, because it got
And
blackface. So
they use blackface really well, you guys. Let me defend. Guys, I want to end this podcast by defending blackface.
where can the people find you people? TJ, what's up?
You guys are on Flyover State of Film YouTube right now. Check out our recent episode 52 just dropped, where we talked about Twister and a whole bunch of fun stuff. We have some flybys we just dropped of me and Yusef talking The Five Bloods and Vast of Night. Brian and Yusef have Planet of the Apes. Me and Joe have some 90s sports films.
It
Guys,
was
check
just
all the
the 48th anniversary of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh, so
That
yeah,
is
relevant.
awesome.
Very relevant. It's going to stay relevant.
So much
Brian
free
and
content.
I have something topical coming up.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah. Are we doing that? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk after.
Beast of Nation
trying to be-
and Birth of a Nation. They're gonna talk about.
Oh, damn. The 2 births of a nation. Damn.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Joe.
we are the people. Yeah, we are the people qualified to talk about those 2 films.
That's right.
respectively.
Who better to talk about it?
You
than
could
us?
find me with all these mistakes on Twitter at Chindangle1 and enjoying our flyover content.
Go follow Joe and tell him to stop fucking doing a man bun. Brian, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Herskilles. And you can find me here at Flyover State of Film, the podcast with the 50% red beard ratio. So
Yeah.
WhyILoveMovies.com. Bye.
Bye.